Okay, John, a little before and after from our session today, mate. So really what we're trying to do is tidy up the top of your swing position, right? I think your idea of a full backswing is way, excuse me, is way too long, right? We've over-rotated the shoulders, we've collapsed the arms, we've over-rotated the hips, and we've over-rotated the hips because you've collapsed your right knee and you've rolled onto the outside of your right foot, right? So you can see, you know, when we look at your pressure trace, if we look at your right foot, which is, you know, this foot here, right? You know, how the inside of your foot actually comes off the ground, and then if we look at it on the camera, you can see how the inside of your foot actually comes off the ground, and you're rolling onto the outside. So what that does is basically your knees collapsing. You know, your knee starts off pointing out over your toes, but then I would argue at the top of the swing, your knee's pointing over here somewhere. So that's what I mean by your knee collapsing. Your right foot rolling on the pressure on your right foot rolling onto the outside of your foot, and then your knee moving over that way. That gives you too much hip turn, which in turn allows you to turn your shoulders too much. You add that to you lifting your right elbow up too high and your hands getting too close to your chest, and then you bending your left arm, you bending your right elbow's too high, and then we look like that. So what I said was, let's get something underneath your right armpit there. We've got a little sort of training aid, smart ball, just deflated, and put it under your right arm. And then I said, right, well, put that noodle underneath the outside of your right foot, just so that you can't roll onto the outside of your foot, and then make your backswing. Boom. Now, for me, that looks so much better, right? So look at the structure. Look at the structure in your lower body now, right? So now, for me, your knee is still pointing over your toes. It's not pointing over here somewhere. You've definitely limited the amount that you've turned your hips. And if you limit the amount you can turn your hips, and when I say limit, I don't mean don't turn them. I want your hips turned about 45 degrees so you can turn your shoulders 90 degrees. Your hips are turning 60 degrees and your shoulders are turning 120 degrees, right? The tour average is about 89 degrees, 90 degrees with shoulder turn, right? And these are the best players in the world, hitting it a long way. So we don't need to over-rotate to get the club in a good slot, get some good structure in your legs, your knees, and your arms to come down and hit good golf shots. All we need to do is get to there. Now, as a little caveat, if you zoom in on your hands, that right palm, the lifeline of your right hand is still coming away from your left thumb. So you're losing the structure in your wrists a little bit, your hands and wrists, right? So remember, the little dot that I put on your left thumb, the palm of your right hand, the lifeline of your right hand has to stay pushing against the dot on your left thumb, right? And that's a pressure point. You want to maintain that pressure point throughout the swing.